What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon Challenge video. Today we're on Radical Red 4.0 and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 using only gift Pokemon. Now if you've been a fan of the channel for a long time, you know this is like my favorite go-to challenge videos of all time, and I've always tried it on every single ROM hack I've done, and I want to see if I could beat the newest update of Pokemon Radical Red with only gift Pokemon. They've actually added a lot of changes to a bunch of different gift Pokemon, so I want to actually try it out, and yeah, that's essentially the video. Before the video starts, we have a quick message from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by Royal Match. Royal Match is the match 3 puzzle game in which you help King Robert build and renovate his castle. It's completely free and you can play it offline. That being said, that means there are no ads interrupting your gaming. This is the absolute most relaxing games to unwind to and get you engaged for long periods of time without bothering you with ads or any interruption. I've also made a personal competition with me and my girlfriend to see how far we can get through this game, and I'm obviously winning. Obviously, I love this game and I bet you would as well. So head down to my description or the pinned comment of this video and download a Royal Match for free. Thank you again for Royal Match for sponsoring this video. So additionally to my challenge video, each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after your future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while it's down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. And anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, I decided to, for my own starter Pokemon, I decided to spin a wheel. So this is me adding the Pokemon. This is off memory. I was trying to spell it. I think I messed up the spelling of some of the Pokemon, but this is my attempt to try to get every single starter Pokemon off memory, and I think I got all of them. And then when we spin the wheel, we actually get ourselves an Oshawott, which is kind of strange. I don't think I've ever used Oshawott like that unless I'm playing black and white, so it's going to be unique. I'm pretty sure it's going to evolve into the Hisuian form, or I hope it does, because I kind of want you to. I haven't used the Hisuian form for this one at all, so it's gonna be kind of fun as we're gonna use Oshawott as our first gift Pokemon. Now if you guys don't know what a gift Pokemon is, it's gonna be a Pokemon that's given to you as a gift. So Pokemons that don't count are like Pokemon you catch in the wild or through the raid dens or traded for. So those Pokemon don't count. Pokemon that does count is like an egg merchant, where you do pay for it. It kind of counts as a gift Pokemon as you're giving it, but you kind of pay for it, so it's kind of like a gray area. But we're gonna count it as a gift Pokemon for this challenge video, as we're gonna use this egg merchant to find our next Pokemon, which is gonna be very useful as we're gonna face off against Falkner soon. I tried to use Gibble. Gibble actually ended up being one of the worst Pokemon to use for that fight, so I decided to just reset, and eventually we got ourselves a Hisuian Growlithe, which I knew was gonna work really well, but I just didn't know how it's gonna work with Brock. But we'll cross that bridge when we do, as we face off against Falkner and we beat down Falkner with our new Growlithe. And then from there we're gonna face off against Brock, and Brock's gonna be interesting. We're gonna start the battle off against Brock using my Growlithe. We're gonna use Ember, trying to hope for a burn, which we don't get, against the Geodude, and we just want to break the sturdy. As my Growlithe goes down, I go out to my Oshawott and Water Pulse to knock out the Geodude, which is perfect. From there, he can switch out into his Onix, and I'm able to two-shot into him. He hits me down to my berry, which is a little annoying, and then he's gonna go out to his Vroom next, which I go for a Water Pulse. He goes for a Toxic, kind of annoying, but I confused him in return, and he hits himself, and that allows me to knock out the Vroom. And from there, since I saved myself a turn, I'm able to survive a Rock Tomb from the Arcan, and then knock him out with a Water Pulse in one shot as we beat down Brock and survive the first gym. The first portion of the game is a little harder than regular. Once we head through Brock, we can actually head into Route 3 or 4, I think 4, as we again head into Mount Moon, clear through raid dens. So even though we can't catch the Pokemon, we can still get a bunch of great items like citrus berries from raid dens. We're gonna make sure we do that, and we're also gonna head into this Poke Center right outside of Mount Moon and get ourselves a Magikarp for $500. So it's another pay for Pokemon, but you know what, it's a gift Pokemon as we evolve them into a Gyarados. From there we're gonna face off against the Scientist double battle fight, which it's a little annoying, a little tricky, but isn't too difficult. And after we beat the Scientist, we're gonna face off against Archer, which isn't too difficult. It's just that Gyarados has no good moves, so we have to rely on Tackle. So that was kind of sad. But from there, once we head into Cerulean City, we have another egg. We could have got a Paldean Tauros, which I don't really like. So I decided to just keep rolling the dice, and eventually we got a Toxo, which I don't think I've ever used, so we're gonna have it on our team, so it's gonna be fun to use. From there, we're gonna unlock the Move Tutor, which I always get very scared at the end because we had 2 HP, but we unlock the Move Relearner and then go north of Cerulean City and face off against a rival. We have a Duat now and just cooks up everything on Gary's team. And then from there, we're also going to face off against this Rocket Member Trainer, just so we have access into this bottom route in Route 5. Get ourselves the Bodos TM and then face off against Misty in the second gym fight in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Toxo. Now Toxo is electric, but it doesn't do too much. since it's still a baby Pokemon. We're able to nuzzle the Frogadier, and that's about it, as it's gonna go down to the Frogadier. From there, I'm gonna switch out into my Duat, and Duat's able to get a dig off against Clocksire and doesn't do a lot of damage, so I'm gonna switch out into my Gyarados. Bodos almost knocks out the Clocksire, as it's gonna eventually switch out into a Floatzel, which I go for a Thrash after knocking down with a Bulldoze. We're able to knock out the Floatzel, as the next Pokemon will be a Starmie, which does a lot of damage to me with Side Shock. So I switched out into my Duat, and unfortunately Duat also gets cooked up by the Starmie, so we're gonna have to go back into my Gyarados, and lucky enough for us, it starts using Recover, so we're able to Bulldoze into him, lower the speed of the Starmie, and then knock him out with a Thrash. As for able to knock out a Starmie, and then Bulldoze twice in the Clocksire, take a Rock Tomb, but we're able to knock out the Clocksire and also the Frogadier to secure ourselves the second gym badge in the game. That will allow us to go into Vermilion City and then evolve a lot of our Pokemon. We got a Toxicity tree now from our Toxel. We also got another Egg Merchant out here. Now, Scracky's not going to be a Pokemon I want. We actually get ourselves a Beldum eventually, which is going to be a pseudo-legendary Pokemon, which is going to be nice. We also can go out into the SSN and clear through this double battle fight, which you guys know me, probably one of the harder fights in the game, so lucky enough we're able to beat that. And from there, we're going to face off against Lieutenant Surge. Lieutenant Surge does a lot of damage against us, so we have to be very careful. We're unable to really beat him down, so we decided to make a detour. We go back into Route 5, into the Poke Daycare, and we're going to face off against this trainer that only uses his Suin Pokemon. So we get Rento Pokemons to face off against him, and once you beat him, you get a free Eevee. I didn't know this was even in the game, so we got ourselves an Eevee from that, and we're going to evolve it into the Sylveon, because Sylveon's like my favorite evolution. And then from there, we're going to face off against Lieutenant Surge, which is going to be the third gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against Lieutenant Surge using my Duat. Now, I'm just using Dig. I'm going to sacrifice Duat against the Pinch Urchin, and then go out into my Gyarados, which will just destroy the Pinch Urchin with Bulldoze, using all my water types first. From there, he's going to switch out into his Palnot, which I decided to go out into my Toxicity, which doesn't survive any moves at all. So this thing was a bad plan. I lose my Toxicity, but I go out into my Sylveon next, which will Draining Kiss and survive a Thunder Punch at least. Get my HP back, as he's going to switch out to his Bellybolt, which I'm able to Misty Terrain, dodge the Thunder Wave at least, and then go for Draining Kiss. I should have set up a Light Screen, but I go for Draining Kiss against him, and then eventually set up a Light Screen, go out to my Gyarados, which will be able to Bulldoze into the Raichu and then knock him out. From there, the Manectric's going to knock me out, which, I mean, I knock him down to low HP, which is fine, but he's going to knock me out. I go out to my Sylveon. I don't take a Volt Switch pretty well anymore because it was +2, but from there, I'm able to Draining Kiss into the Bellybolt. It's going to eventually knock me out, which is surprising, but I knock him down to low HP, to the point where I go out into my Matang. I'm able to Zen Headbutt, knock out the Bellybolt, and also knock out the Mega Manectric pretty well. So we're able to beat down Lieutenant Surge and get ourselves the third gym badge in the game. Now from there, we're going to head into the Rock Tunnel with our newly evolved Hisuian Samurott. Of course, I actually don't know, how do you get regular Samurott now since Hisuian came out? I'm pretty sure everyone wants to use the Hisuian starters instead of the regular ones, but how do you get regular Samurott? So anyways, from there, we're going to also evolve our Growlithe into an Arcanine, Hisuian Arcanine, which is, you know, has Flare Blitz, which is really going to help us against the next gym. As we're going to face off against Erika in the next gym. Erika is going to be the 4th gym leader and the grass gym leader. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Gyarados. Now, I have to use her because this Rillaboom actually destroys my entire team. So, we have to use Ice Fang against the Rillaboom. And we got lucky with the Freeze or the Frostbite. And then from there, she can switch out to her Electrode, which can go for Chloroblast. And I go out into my Matang. I survive a Chloroblast, and then it just knocks himself out with the recoil. From there, she's gonna switch out to her Meganium. I don't know why I didn't use Meteor Mash. That was just, I think I forgot about the move or something, because I used Ice Punch and Bullet Punch, and it didn't work out. From there, I'm gonna switch out to my Arcanine, which is gonna knock out the Meganium, and also knock down the Meowscarada to low HP, and then a Cell Rock to knock him out. And also a Cell Rock to knock out the Rillaboom. I could have gone for a Flare Blitz against the Venusaur, but I decided to use a Bulldoze to lower the speed of him. And then switch out into my Sylveon. Sylveon's going to set up Misty Terrain, avoid the Sleep Powder, and set up Light Screen. At this point, I should have switched out, but I stayed in very greedily trying to get a special attack lower. But I'm just going to go down. But I knocked the Venusaur down to half HP, allowing my Samurott to come in and 2-shot him. And got lucky with the Sleep Powder miss. But we're able to beat down the Venusaur and get ourselves the 4th gym badge in the game. From there, Professor 8 actually gives us a random egg. And unfortunately, I could have saved and reset it, but I forgot to. And then I got myself a very ugly Carnivine, which I'm not going to use. From there, we're going to move out into the Rocket Hideout and get ourselves the Bottle Cap. We're going to switch someone's ability up later on. And from there, we're going to face off against Giovanni, which we're able to clear through Giovanni pretty easily. So that's a free win for us. Once we're done with that, we're going to go into Lavender Tower and then get ourselves the Poke Flute and also face off against our rival in Silphco, which ends up being a very close battle. So we got lucky with that. We also face off against Archer and Ariana in this double battle fight, which we're able to just pretty easily. We also face off against Giovanni, and this Gargantuanak is super weird. I thought it was gonna be physically defensive. It was not. It just got beat up by my Metagross. So I don't know how that thing's useful. From there, we're gonna switch up our ability from our Samurai's normal ability into Sharpness, which will boost like slashing attacks, which I don't know which one is the slashing attack. I assume Seize Edge is one. So we're going to add that to our team. We're also going to get Liquidation. I don't know why I put Aqua Jet, but I will put Liquidation soon. And then from there, we're going to face off against Sabrina, which isn't too hard of a fight. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Metagross and my Samurai. Unlike in Hardcore mode, Sabrina is not too difficult in the regular mode, as we're able to go for a Seize Edge against the Indeedee, Meteor Mash into the Hatterene to knock him out. From there, she can switch out to her Brute Bonnet and also a Gardevoir. We're able to Mega Horn into the Brute Bonnet and also Meteor Mash and knock out the Gardevoir. So we haven't got hit once. And then finally, her last two Pokemon will be a Porygon 2 and also an Ursaluna, which have you guys seen the new? I know we end up beating this fight. Yeah, surprisingly, we end up easily beating down Sabrina. But have you guys seen the new Ursaring, which was like a bloody Pokemon? I was like, is this even real? I thought it was a fan art, but it's apparently a real Pokemon. It's like Blood Moon or something, Blood Moon Bear or something. It sounds stupid, but it looks kind of interesting. I've not been keeping up with the new Pokemon recently, so I'm actually really out the loop of the new Pokemon. But from there, we're also going to face up against Chuck and beat down Chuck and get ourselves the Focus Sash, which is very useful. Lucky enough, we have a Pokemon that actually fits the criteria for Chuck. I think it's Pokemon over 100 in the stat total they're asking for. Or like close to 120. I gotta be 120 or something. From there, we can go into Cycling Road and then clear through the Cycling Road, which a little less harder than Hardcore mode. I've recently started a challenge in Hardcore mode, which we're doing all the mountain types, which is very annoying. So we're lucky enough we have some break days where we don't play Hardcore mode. From there, we're gonna reset in front of this Professor Aid and get a Cantonian Feebas, which we're gonna evolve into a Milotic. It's gonna be pretty nice. We're also gonna unlock the Egg Move Tutor, which I don't think I've got anything from him. I'm just double checking. Yeah. Actually, no, I got Miracle for my new Cantonian Milotic, but that's about it. From there, once we head in Fuchsia City, we're forced to rematch 4 different gym leaders. Lucky enough, they're actually a little easier in regular mode, as we're able to beat down Brock, also beat down Misty with her pretty strong Pokemon. We got a Palafin from Misty, but we used Palafin so many times that I decided to not use it. And we also get the Mega Stone for Gyarados, so we're going to take a detour, face off against Brendan in Fuchsia City and beat him down with our new Mega. And from there, we're going to go back, face off against Lieutenant Surge. We actually beat Lieutenant Surge just barely. This last Belly Bolt was kind of annoying. From there, we're able to sweep down Erika's team with my Arcanine, which is actually part Rock type. So, I mean, poor Erika. She's just terrible in every single game. From there, we're going to face off against Koga next. Koga is going to be the 6th gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Toxicity, which gets U-turn on. He goes out to his own Toxicity, which knocks me out, and I'm like, this Pokemon is kind of bad. I go out into my Milotic, which is able to Earth Power and knock out his Toxicity. He's gonna go out to his Swallow next, and then he's gonna U-turn, and then I shore up. He U-turns with his Acelgor back into his Swallow. I Moonblast it, and then he U-turns Acelgor again, and then goes for a U-turn. I Moonblast into his Greninja to knock him out. Then he goes out to his Drapion, which honestly, I went for a Moonblast, and then I took a Wicked Blow pretty easily, so I should have shore up right here, but I decided to just go for the kill and knock out Drapion, and then the Acelgor will finally knock me out. Milotic just basically won me the game, and from there, the Iron Valiant actually has Liquidation. I'm like, why does he have Liquidation? But he can knock me out. I go out to my Mega Gyarados, which will be able to knock out the Iron Valiant eventually, and then from there, we're able to beat down the Swallow as well. We're going to beat down Koga, get the 6th gym badge in the game, and then move out. We're going to face off against Price, get ourselves the Choice Scarf, which isn't too difficult. And from there, we're going to face off against Jasmine, also get ourselves the Choice Band that we don't use, obviously. I think I'm losing time just facing off against Jasmine, I can't lie. From there, we're going to face off against Blaine's trainers in here, which are very annoying. I really hate this. I just hate the last trainers. I think that's a great addition because it adds more challenge, but it's just so annoying. From there, we're going to face off against Blaine himself, and we're going to start the battle off against Blaine using my Arcanine. Now, Arcanine's going to face off against his Armor Rogue, which we're able to Head Smash into. And then he's going to go for an Aura Sphere, which I survive, a Cell Rock to knock him out, and from there he's going to switch out to the Scovillion, which we're able to go for in a Cell Rock. He's going to knock me out with a Giga Drain, but I have a Samurai in the back with Sucker Punch, so we're able to knock out a Scovillion, and then his next Pokemon will be a Slitherwing, which I decided to sack my Milotic for some reason. I'm not too sure why, but I guess Milotic goes down. From there, I'm going to switch up to my Gyarados, which was set up in front of him. I do have the bluff of my Megastone, which he could read because he's the AI. So I'm just going to bluff that I'm going to Mega Evolve into a Dark type, which I don't. And then Mega Evolve on the last turn, which we're able to outspeed Aqua Tail to knock out the Slitherwing. And lucky enough for us, that's enough as we're able to crunch into the Executor and knock him out as well. So 2 KOs. As the Typhlosion comes out, it's going to knock me out, which is kind of unfortunate. But go out to my Samurott next, which is getting Razor Shell. I survive a Focus Blast as I'm able to Razor Shell and Sucker Punch to knock out the Typhlosion. Also do some chip damage against the Charizard. And from there, I could go out into my Toxicity to knock out the Charizard, since I have the Focus Sash that I got earlier on. And we're able to beat down Blaine pretty easily. From there, we can face off against Archer, which we beat. And then against Ariana, we kind of choked a little bit as we got onto our last Pokemon. But we're able to Cell Rock and knock out the Mawile, which is all good at the end. From there, we're going to face off against Giovanni in this fight with Lance. And lucky enough for us, I think this is the first time that my Pokemon actually carries, as we're able to beat down Giovanni, and my Pokemon was the last one surviving. So from there, we beat down Giovanni. We're going to also get Shell Smash on our Samurott, which is going to be very cool. We're also going to go back into Cerulean Cave and then face off against this trainer over here at the end. That's only available to us once we beat the Team Rocket members. We also get a Cub Food from him, which is going to be our final gift Pokemon. We're going to evolve that into our Urshifu, which is kind of weird that a legendary Pokemon evolves into a Pokemon. Is he a legendary? I think he's a legendary. From there, we're going to face off against Claire next. Claire is going to be the 8th and final gym leader in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Arcanine, which is going to Head Smash and then a Cell Rock to knock him out, which I just take a taunt for. And then from there, she's going to switch out to her Duraludon, which I'm able to Flare Blitz, do some chip, but that's about it. As I'm gonna go down to Duraludon. I go out to my Samurott next, which is gonna go for a Shell Smash and then Sucker Punch to knock out Duraludon. I Razor Shell, but it's not enough as the Magearna is gonna knock me out. I then go out into my Metagross, which is gonna Bullet Punch and knock out the Magearna, and then Meteor Mash to knock out the Roaring Moon, which is insane. I don't know how I survived. From there, the Dragonite comes out. I break the Multi-Scale with my Bullet Punch and then go out into my Milotic, Moonblast to knock him out. Ooh, I don't knock him out. He's gonna knock me out with Dual Wing Beat, but lucky enough, I do have Urshifu in the back with a Choice Scarf, which I made it a Surgeon Strike and knock him out. And the final Pokemon on Claire's team will be a Naganadel, which I do some nice damage, but unfortunately it's going to go down. As my final Pokemon will be a Gyarados. This will be the last time I use Mega Gyarados in an important fight, which is kind of sad, but we're able to knock out the Naganadel. And now the reason why I said that, well, you'll find out in a little bit. I got to face off against 2 trainers. So I got to face off against my rival first, and then my fake rival, Brendan, because he's terrible. Even though he has better Pokemon, he's actually worse. And then from there, once we beat Brendan, we're able to go out into Victory Road. We clear through Victory Road and then face off against this trainer over here. Once we beat this specific trainer with 5 Shedinjas, we're able to get the Metagross site, which we're able to evolve Metagross into Mega Metagross. So that means Gyarados won't have a Mega Stone anymore. But I think he'll survive. We're also going to get Thunder Punch on our Metagross. And then from there, we're going to head into the Elite Four and face off against the Elite Four themselves. Our first Elite Four member we're going to face off against is going to be Lorelei. We're going to start the battle off against Lorelei with my Urshifu and Gyarados. Now, she's going to start with Poliwrath and Politoed, which is fine. I go for Thunder Punch against Poliwrath and then go for a Crunch against the Politoed. I mean, it works out pretty well as we're eventually able to knock out the Poliwrath. Politoed survives with 1 HP, which actually works out for us. Her next Pokemon will be a Swampert. I switch out my Urshifu into my Arcanine, which unfortunately maybe not to play as both my Pokemon, both my Gyarados and Arcanine goes down. But I could go out into my Samurott and Urshifu in the following turn. I go for a Shell Smash in front of the Politoed and Samurott, and also go for a Surging Strike against the Swampert as he goes for Earthquake and knock out his own Politoed, which is kind of funny. From there, I'm able to get a Shell Smash up, and then her next Pokemon will be a Walking Wake. I go for a Sucker Punch against the Swampert, and then the Walking Wake can protect, so that turns kind of, free for me, as her next Pokemon after that will be an Iron Bundle. I go for a Sucker Punch against the Iron Bundle, and then a Choice Guard Surging Strike would knock out the Iron Bundle as well, as the Walking Wake would knock out my Urshifu, but the damages have already been done, as we're able to go out into my Metagross next. We're able to outspeed a Kyogre with both my Pokemon, as the Walking Wake goes for Protect, and then the Kyogre just goes down, as we're able to knock out the Kyogre and also the Walking Wake in the following turn. We're able to beat down Lorelei pretty easily. And then from there, we're able to face off against Bruno next. Bruno is going to be the second Elite Four member in the game. We're able to start the battle off against him using my Urshifu. And Urshifu is able to just Surging Strike, knock out the Infernape pretty easily. His next Pokemon will be a Como, which I'm going to go out into my Milotic next. Milotic is able to survive a Flash Cannon at +1, Moonblast to knock out the Como, and then from there Bruno's going to switch out into the Zacian. I'm going to sack my Milotic. Lucky enough it didn't go for any crazy move. I'm going to go out into my Urshifu next, Surging Strike as he goes for a Swords Dance, and then switch out into my Samurott to take the Wild Charge, and then the recoil damage knocks him down to low HP, which I go out into my Mega Metagross, which I'm able to Bullet Punch and knock out the Zacian. His next Pokemon will be an Urshifu, which I Meteor Mash and get an attack boost, survive a Wicked Blow as well, which is crazy. I go for a Bullet Punch, thinking I was going to knock him out, but he survives, but he goes for a Sucker Punch, so I actually outspeeded his Sucker Punch, and that allows me to knock out his Urshifu, and also knock out the Iron Valiant, which is crazy enough. I do a lot of damage, and then eventually, the Lucario comes out and then knocks me out, as I go out into my Arcanine, which has the Focus Sash. I survive a close combat, and Flare Blitz would knock him out, as ready to beat down Bruno, and wow. My Pokemon are really broken from a gift Pokemon only challenge. From there, we can face off against Agatha next. Agatha's gonna be the third and Ghost type Elite Four member, kinda. We're start the battle off against Agatha using my Urshifu, and yeah, it goes as well as you think. We're able to Surging Strike and knock out the Zoroark. Her next Pokemon will be a Xianpao, which we're able to just destroy as well. It doesn't have any moves to stop me, as I don't understand why she switched out into her Xianpao, but we're able to use Surging Strike twice to knock out the Xianpao. Gholdengo comes out, we're able to knock him down to half HP, as she goes for a Nasty Plot and then lets me knock him out. So 3 Pokemon goes down. Her next Pokemon after that will be a Marshadow, which I'm pretty sure I would have beat a Marshadow if I had more PP on Urshifu. Go out into my Milotic next, which unfortunately ends up being a sack. But from there, I go out into my Gyarados. Gyarados is able to get a lucky crit with Aqua Tail and knock out the Marshadow. Could have been very close, but I think I still had enough moves in the back to knock out the rest of her team. As her next Pokemon will be a Flutter Mane, which we're able to Aqua Tail twice into and knock out. And her final Pokemon will be a Gengar, which is going to knock me out. It's fine. I go out into my Urshifu, Thunder Punch it for some reason. But my Samurai will Sucker Punch and eventually knock out the Gengar for us, as we're able to beat down Agatha. Next up, we're going to face off against Lance next. Lance is the 4th Elite Four member in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Arcanine. We're able to Head Smash into the Aerodactyl and then a Cell Rock. Knock out the Aerodactyl for free. We're able to Headlong Rush him. Doesn't do any damage, but I go out to my Gyarados next, which will Crunch into him. We're getting switched out a lot of times. Eventually, he's going to switch me out into my Milotic, which I go for an Earth Power. He goes into his Melmetal for some reason and lets me knock him out with my Milotic. Okay. Then he goes out to his Salamence next, which I'm like, isn't this a free Moonblast? It is a free Moonblast. It goes down to red HP, but then I'm pretty sure he's gonna knock me out. But I switch out into my Gyarados, sack him to the Double Edge, and then go out into my Arcanine, which will Cell Rock and knock him out. From there, I'm able to get one more. No, he outspeeds me and just cooks me. I go out to my Milotic next, and then from there, I'm able to Mirror Coat into the Dialga and knock him out using his own Flash Cannon. From there, Lance is gonna switch out to his Iron Jugulis, which can knock me out. But I go out to my Urshifu. Close combat does not knock him out, so that's surprising. But lucky enough, my Mega Metagross would knock him out with a Bullet Punch, and then from there, I'm able to break the Dragonite's multi-scale without activating his weakness policy, which could have been bad. I also follow up with an Ice Punch to knock him out, as ready to beat down Lance, and yeah, pretty much secure that fight. From there, we're going to face off against Blue next. Blue's the champion in the game. We're going to start the battle off against him using my Urshifu, which will survive a close combat from the Pheromosa, and then Surging Strike to knock him out. From there, Blue's going to switch out to the Miraidon. I go out into my Milotic, which is part Fairy and part Ground. So we're able to dodge an electric move from the Miraidon. We're able to Moonblast into him, and then from there, I drop his special attack, so he's forced to Calm Mind once again. I go for an Earth Power and lower his special defense. From there, I survive a Hidden Power very easily, and then knock out the Miraidon. From there, he's going to switch out to his Yveltal, which I was trying to gauge the damage of what he does, so Shore Up and Moonblast. It doesn't do a lot of damage, surprisingly enough. So I decided to switch out. I switched out into my Arcanine, which I really thought was going to do some more damage, but Dark Hole is going to knock me out. And then from there, I switch out into my Hisuian Samurott, which I get a Shell Smash up against. Once I get the Citrus Berry HP restore, he's going to go for a Sucker Punch immediately. I was like, damn. I was like, why'd you do that? I thought he was going to go for like a Living Wing again, but I go for a Razor Shell, and then it doesn't knock him out. I was hoping he doesn't go for a Sucker Punch again, as I go for a Ceaseless Edge. And then, lucky enough, we're able to knock out the Yveltal. From there, I'm able to Ceaseless Edge against the Eternatus, get a crit against him too, and knock him out. From there, I'm already outspeeding everything, so I go for a Ceaseless Edge. I didn't go for Sucker Punch. Ceaseless Edge would knock out the Metagross, his Mega Metagross, and his final Pokemon will be a Ditto, which just copies me, but that means his defense is lower too, as we're able to Sucker Punch into him and knock him out, as we're able to just clear through the end of the game with our starter Pokemon. So we're absolutely going to take that. We cleared through Pokemon Radical Red 4.0 using only gift Pokemon, and it was quite fun. We had a very broken team at the end. Like, I wouldn't mind this type of team in my hardcore run. So this team is pretty strong. I might have to copy this in the future in hardcore mode, because this is definitely doable. This is very doable. Anyways, that will be all for me today. Thank you so much for watching all the way to now. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name has been Alpha, and I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'm out. Peace.